Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. I am joined again by the gang of Ken Cheshire. How's it going, Ken?
Going well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And Sagosh, how are you doing, Sagosh?
Great, thanks.
Thanks for being here. That's good to know that you're doing well and feeling better. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim is away for this episode again. We miss you, Jim. We'll see you soon, very soon. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Going for the One. Uh, I've said this before, for the month of September, we are looking back at our favorite debut albums. I wish to stress this again, not perfect albums, but our favorite debut albums. So there may be a blemish here and there, a pimple in musical terms on these albums, right? So they're not perfect, but they are a favorite. And we have Sagosh back again, talking about another one of his favorite albums. Sagosh?
Thanks, Armando. So we're going to set the DeLorean for April 1988, when Elektra Records put out the debut album from Tracy Chapman, self-titled. An absolutely amazing record that again heralded a new era of singer-songwriters, a completely out of left field kind of feel to this one, because it had a classic folk sound coming from a black woman in 1988 when hip hop was on the rise, and this was the last thing you were expecting, really. And the music itself is so powerful. It's one of the albums for the ages, really, for me, and I think judging by the kind of success it had for a lot of people. So it really, like I said, picked up this classic singer-songwriter sound, and a lot of that seems to have been well thought out because among the personnel, we have Larry Klein on bass, who was I guess at that point still married to Joni Mitchell and had worked on most of her 80s albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Producing, apparently, Tracy had a lot of difficulty getting hold of producers during that period who wanted to work with the kind of sound and musical direction that she had, because clearly it was nowhere near what was happening at the time. And apparently, a lot of producers turned her down, but then she found Dave Kirschenbaum, who is probably most famous for producing the classic album from Joan Baez, Diamonds and Rust. And I don't think there could have been a more perfect match because he really brought this album the sound it needed and made sure that there were no unnecessary bells and whistles or products of the time or dated artifacts that would take away from the central message of the album. And I think he did a great job because most of the focus is on keeping the vocals right up in the mix, and that gives all the power that Tracy's unique voice and delivery style really need. She needs to be up out there because it's just so striking that you need that voice to be front and center and above everything else. And her messages and her lyrics are so important for the time and really for all time. I mean, sadly, I don't think a lot has changed in the 30 odd years that have gone by. But, the amount of sheer power and intensity and honesty on this record is to be heard to be believed. I mean, in some ways, I would call it a sort of what's going on for the 80s. A very similar sort of theme, talking about where we stand as a society, talking about the struggles of people who are economically challenged, hardships, just working class misery. So much of that angst and that, pain is captured on these 11 tracks. And it really could not be delivered in a more sincere way by Tracy Chapman. Absolutely amazing stuff. I mean, the lyrics here are, they range from the personal to the political. There's a few gentle, tender, love songs which work equally well. I think Baby Can I Hold You was a fair hit, even though it didn't quite reach the heights of Fast Car, but it was popular enough and again popular
Uh,
enough to have a boy for it later in the 90s. So
Yeah,
It's obviously done.
I was just gonna say, sorry, Sakosh, Fast Car was a juggernaut in terms of the
Absolutely.
popularity of the track. So any song that they would release after that as a single would
Yeah.
be have difficulty matching the success of that song. But I will shut up. I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
And to some extent, that I would say that kind of happened for the album itself because it's such an astounding debut album that uh, nothing she did, although it was good, it was still very good, but nothing she did after this could ever reach the same height again, either commercially or critically, because the bar was set so high from the word go that she just couldn't capture that again, even though her later albums are also quite good. But there is some X factor about this one that none of them could really capture. It's kind of sad in a way, in a twisted kind of manner. It sort of both kickstarted and kind of strangled her career because the expectations are
I can see
set
that.
so high and she will never rise to them again.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was this album, and not to cut you off again, I apologize. I love this album. This album was a perfect storm uh
Absolutely.
for when it, for the release. And y- y- just to give a bit of a background here, you got to understand, everybody watching, when this album came out, we were inundated with George Michael, with the singles from Faith. Faith
Yeah.
had like 5 or 6 or 7 singles released of the 9 tracks of the album. Uh, hair metal was going like crazy. Poison and all those hair metal bands. Um,
Yeah.
so, Taylor Dane, the dance stuff that was coming out. Moose and Hairspray everywhere. So this debut album, and believe me, I had hair back in the day, so I know that shit. Um,
Come on.
this album was a complete opposite and antithesis of what was going on in the mainstream at the time. And it was a major hit. So I will be quiet. So keep going. So
Yeah, in fact, I would like to mention that one of the few artists that I actually managed to listen to kind of at the time of release and really get into the whole hype and feel of it at the time, because in India most of the time releases came in quite late and we were always sort of playing catch up.
Mhm.
There were many
yeah.
albums from the 60s which didn't get a release till 1985, some even later.
Jeez.
So we were always like, I don't think we really had a good grasp on what was contemporary because, there would be all these new releases in the stores and then you would find out that these are albums that actually came out 10 years ago and they're just getting their first release in India. So when
Yeah,
Tracy
that's
Chapman came, that was one of the first albums I remember seeing that, okay, this is 1988, this is now, and we've actually got it here at the same time that it's making waves worldwide. And let me tell you, I was 11 years old at the time. I understood very little of what she was saying. I mean, the intonation, the accent was just too hard to grasp for me. And even if I did understand the words, I didn't quite understand what they meant. I had zero awareness of, socio-political issues in the US. But all of us, my class in school, we had about 50 or 60 kids. And a lot of them were probably not even, that conversant with English. I mean, they had, maybe a rudimentary understanding of the language. And they had probably never heard English music before. But Fast Car, I don't know what chord it touched with all of us. And it really created this crazy impact, especially in the urban Indian crowd. I mean, everybody knew the song. They probably didn't know anything of it other than the two words "fast car,"
Yeah.
but everyone was captivated by it. And it took me years to go back and revisit this album and read the lyrics and understand what's really going on. and every time it just hit me more and more and more. But the astonishing thing is that even for a child, it was so captivating without understanding anything. That just shows you the level of sincerity and intensity with which it was made. I mean, here
Yeah,
we're
this
looking at
album. Go
an
ahead.
a cappella song. That was like a real shocker for me at the time. We had never heard of something like that. A song recorded without any instruments, just a voice, like behind the wall. And what a song! I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
way
my
she,
God. Yeah.
domestic violence horror is just insane. I mean, chills you. And it needed that. It needed that stark, delivery of just the voice and nothing else. Lamenting the state of affairs. It's just so heartbreaking.
If I
And then
can say,
there's Across the Line
sorry,
about
go
race
ahead.
riots. Again, not something we were familiar with at that time. But
Yeah.
as we heard more and more, we got to understand, how things are in contemporary America, and it was really cutting.
Yeah, this
In fact,
came out of left
Revolution.
field
Yeah,
at the
go ahead.
time. And
Yeah.
hearing Fast Car, and somewhere I'd heard another track off the album. I don't remember which one it was,
Talking
but
about a
it's like,
revolution.
yes, thank you. Um, and it's like, okay, time for me to make a trip to the record store. So, oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Sagosh, sorry, both Ken and I were trying to we were gonna say something, but you were so passionate about about the songs you wanted to let you finish. Um, Fast Car for me as a single, as an 18-year-old listening to this, or 17 at the time, that was me in the song, in the lyrics. That was me. I wanted to break away from what I was going through in high school and life, and I just wanted to start anew. I wanted a life of my own. Um, with the lyric, we got to make a decision: leave tonight or live and die this way. It was my God, like this is this is me she's singing about. And no, don't worry, I'm not going to break down. And then later on, in revisiting this album for another show we did, with songs like Behind the Wall, I mean, I'm going to share something. I lost my sister uh, to her husband murdered her um,
Goodness.
on Christmas Day of 2002. The the powerful message of Behind the Wall hit me really hard. And
Yeah.
excuse me. So yeah, these songs are not just your typical folk-oriented pop songs. These are songs with statements, with characters, with lives involved. They are so powerful.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I wanted to just give you a bit of my background on that. I think this album is fantastic. It's fan bloody tastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about Fast Car, I think maybe that's what sort of resonated. We just got a few words here and there, but those words really meant something. I mean, when she comes back in the chorus and says, "I had a feeling that I could be someone, be someone, be someone," the way she emphasizes that, makes you really, it's like a punch in the gut. You feel that this is someone who's longing desperately for that feeling of just existing. Just being someone is so important to them that
yeah,
they want to just get away from everything they've ever known. It's incredibly powerful.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I agree with you. I just want to say, sorry, go ahead, continue. I was just going to say that, and then I will shut up. I was just going to say that this album, for me, speaks to the disenfranchised, the
Absolutely.
individuals who feel like they're on the fringes of society, that they don't fit in, and they're looking for a place to fit in desperately, you know. So
But that's a universal part of life, you know,
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
and
definitely.
it will always be. I was talking about that with a friend yesterday. So yeah,
True enough. True enough.
And somehow I think there's a difference in the way, I mean, you could look at these as coming from the great protest tradition, but there is a slightly different aspect to this in that, in the sense that, the traditional protest folk song would be more from a narrative style,
yeah,
where the, singer is sort of highlighting other people's tragedies. But
Hmm.
Tracy brings a sort of lived experience to these
yeah,
things. It doesn't feel like she's talking about somebody else.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
That
there
on.
is so much personal depth to the way she delivers everything. It doesn't feel like she's just, giving you stories. These are, experiences she's either lived or been close enough to understand, very deeply, and not just writing about issues for the sake of issues.
Sure.
That's, I think, what makes this album really, really special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that story about when Bono of U2, they were doing a concert and he stopped the show, or during one of the breaks in the songs in the set, he was snapping his fingers and he said, every time you hear this sound, uh, another child is starving, right? And someone in the audience yelled out, "Well, then stop making that sound. Stop doing that." Um, for me, it is funny. For
It
me,
is.
songs like Fast Car are coming from the writer's experience, the first person. This is her
Yeah.
experience. And what I mean about Bono is the reference to Bono. This is someone who, to me personally, this is just my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Do not get upset with Ken or Sagosh. It's my opinion. But this little that little show that he put on about snapping his fingers, and to me, that's coming from someone who at that point in time in their career pretty much lost the plot as to why, in terms of their political motivations, in terms of, or their want or need to help people. I mean, this is an individual that can has made his millions, has made his fortune, can help people out as much as he wants to. But from the perspective of Tracy Chapman with Fast Car and Behind the Wall, these are first person experiences. You know, there's a, you know, maybe I lost the plot with the Bono reference, but uh, it's just,
No,
it's,
I mean,
it,
really, the rock star attitude towards charity, there is a certain amount of grandstanding involved there. I mean, it
thank you.
is
Thank
clear
you.
that all of these people are just there because they want to make a splash in some way. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
less about the cause and more about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's virtue
Yeah.
signaling. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for helping me with that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, this album is simply fantastic. Um, she would have success with her follow-up release, Crossroads, in '89, and she had a bit of a resurgence with her album in '96, A New Beginning, uh,
Yeah.
with the single "Give Me One Reason."
Yeah.
But the debut album had such an impact
Yeah.
because it was, again, the complete opposite of what was happening musically, that it just stood out against everything else. And
Yeah.
amazing, amazing album. I'm gonna shut up. I can't say any more than that because
I don't
it's
think any of us can. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's an album that kind of drains you of words because you're just left grasping for anything that can express this. You can't find the right words really to express what this album is
Yeah.
all about. And it just leaves you, you know, just creates this kind of emptiness that so much is going on in this world that we are completely powerless to do anything about.
Yep.
And you know,
Exactly.
it just leaves you feeling a very peculiar kind of hollowness as
Yeah.
to where we're all going.
No, I agree
Well
100%.
said.
100%. I agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. And another episode of Going for the One, the final episode of Going for the One. Um, I want to take this opportunity to thank Ken Sagosh, who I'm going to mention this, and Sagosh doesn't know I'm doing this, but this individual stepped in a day before we were going to start taping to contribute to this series of episodes, and we want to sincerely and graciously thank him for his contribution to this series.
Yep.
And we also want to thank Jim Bricker for giving us the inspiration
Yep.
for this series. I'm all choked up right now. Tracy Chapman does that to me, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure.
But it was Jim's idea for this series, and we've had a hell of a time doing it. And I'm sad that it's come to an end, but all things do have to come to an end. If there is any of these albums that you know, please put down in the comments below your opinion on any of these albums. If we have, in some small way, because we don't know everything there is to know about music, we're not experts at all. We're just bringing you again albums that we like and we want to talk about. Some of us very eloquently, like Sagosh, and some of us that run off at the mouth, like myself, in terms of our descriptions. But if there's an album that you didn't know of, or an album that maybe through these episodes you maybe be discovered, please enjoy and let us know what you think of these albums. Um, we've had fun doing this. We've had fun bringing it to you. And again, we've hoped that you've stayed with us for all 30 episodes. Okay. This has been fun. This has been real fun. I want to thank Ken and Sagosh for joining me on this journey, and for the absent Jim Bricker, who will be back.
Boy.
In one way or another, he will be back on more episodes. It's been wonderful, and we want to thank everybody for watching. And I'll say it again: please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. And we will be back with more episodes in October of the Music Den, and just a lot more ideas. And best is yet to come. All right. Please have a great day and look after yourselves and one another. And we'll see you soon on the Music Den. Have a great day. Bye for now.